VoyMonk here, doing a vlog. Something I've always found kind of interesting. I'm a big Seinfeld fan. I don't know if I want to say fan. I mean, I haven't seen every single episode, and I couldn't chronologically tell you what order, what episodes go where. But I like Seinfeld a lot, and I think probably one of the biggest reasons I like Seinfeld is not just because of the content, and sure I love that, and that's the main point and purpose. But later through the years, and that, of course, looking back and reading the interviews and kind of getting an idea of what Seinfeld is really always supposed to have meant and was about. And the funny thing is that I think if you watch Seinfeld and you know enough about it, then you know that basically the whole concept of Jerry Seinfeld, who, basically was what the show was about. The show really isn't about anything. The show isn't about some greater moral or lesson. It's definitely good storytelling. I think that. But for the most part, I think the thing that's probably the most engaging about the show is that there's really parts of it that aren't really engaging at all. It's a comedy. You can sit back, you can laugh and see what's happening. And, maybe people would call it brain rot or, just something that for your brain to do while it should be doing something else. I don't know. But that's not how I see it. I think the thing that's truly remarkable about Seinfeld is that, unlike so many other things, I think Friends was obviously a very popular show at one point. I think Seinfeld often kind of gets lumped into that area and genre, but it's totally, I think, at least in my view, on its own. Primarily because of the way that it started. It really wasn't, I guess, expected by most. I don't know if it was necessarily, from what I read and understood, very successful or good in many people's minds. But it came about. People enjoyed it and people participated in watching it. And it really was this show that was about, at least according to the writers and Seinfeld, about nothing. It was just, the show was about nothing. Nothing learned, no fable, no moral, no arc or lessons that could be reflected on. It was just a show that was about nothing. And as I say that, and I probably talk quite a bit about this channel and what it's supposed to be and what it means, what I'd like it to mean, what it means to me, is that there's some inspiration that I find from the Seinfeld, at least in that respect. I'm not a comedian. I don't tell jokes, that sort of thing. And I'm not necessarily suggesting that Jerry Seinfeld is the most talented or funniest, or anyone else has to agree or like Seinfeld. But I did and do like the idea of what it can be and what it is ultimately maybe that is represented. Because so much stuff is scripted. So much stuff has makeup, as I've coined the phrase, in terms of, putting something that's more a produced or product of yourself rather than who one actually is. And I'm not saying that obviously Seinfeld isn't in that exact vein. I mean, it was a product and it was a show. But I did like the fact that it dealt with a concept and it became successful in spite of the fact that it was a show about nothing. And I think when it comes to some of these vlogs that I do and some of the content, I think one might be able to argue, well, this is not about anything either. Although I probably guess I don't have much of the benefit of the great humor that comes from Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David, who also went on to make another show that I liked a lot and still love to this day, called Curb Your Enthusiasm. And I guess maybe that makes me a bit of an odd duck in some people's mind. I'm not saying that my likes have to be anyone else's likes or whatever, but, there's, I guess when it comes to life in general, there's just some things you have to, if you're me, speaking about myself, you have to kind of laugh at. You can take as serious as you want, but sometimes in life, many times, there isn't a lot of meaning. And that's not some kind of like raw philosophy or new concept or anything like that. That's not my point. just a moment of reflection on this vlog. Anyways, I think that's going to do it. Until my next vlog, I want to keep these short enough so that I don't drag on. But yeah, so what are your thoughts? You hearing this? I'd like to know. Until my next time, take care.